Leftover women in China are crying bitter tears as men avoid them.
The heartfelt words of a 38-year-old unmarried woman in Guangdong are heartbreaking.
I was forced to go on a blind date again yesterday. Let me share my thoughts. I am a 38-year-old unmarried woman, still single and without a partner. I deeply regret not getting married earlier, not finding a husband sooner.
Leftover women in China are crying bitter tears as men avoid them. Guys, women were warned that ultimately men would just start walking away, and now we're beginning to see that. They are walking away or just go straight right, outright going their own way. Watch the end of the video to fully understand why leftover women in China are now crying bitter tears as men avoid them and what the implications are for women going forward in westernized societies such as the United States. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. And today's video is from China Unvarnished, so make sure to check them out. Their channel is linked in the description. And guys, protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Click the link in the description to get started and support the channel.
With those who think this way, but I realized it too late. Before turning 30, my expectations were unrealistic. Back then, I had no shortage of suitors and had several relationships, but I ended them for the smallest reasons and lacked a clear and complete understanding of myself. Now, my requirements for blind dates are getting lower and lower. I can even consider a divorced man without children. I hope my sisters can recognize their own situation and get married early, really. After 30, there are far fewer opportunities. Some potential partners won't even consider meeting you if they hear your age. Some sisters say that after 30, women are more mature and sensible. Do you believe that? It's just self-comfort. I don't dare to look at my photos from when I was 25, feeling foolish at that time. I was in my prime and could easily marry if I had been smarter. I wouldn't be in this situation now. Life is like a dream, and a year passes in the blink of an eye. Those who say they absolutely can't lower their standards after 30 and would rather not marry if it's not right, do you believe that? Your own worth has decreased. How can you not lower your standards? This is naive and unrealistic thinking. Men are still picky about you. Now, I'm under extreme pressure, sometimes crying for no reason at night. Now, when my parents see my situation, they just sigh. I feel helpless. My parents used to joke about getting a good deal while young. I found it inconceivable, thinking how can love and marriage be a transaction? But later, I realized it really is like that. Back then, I overrated myself and delayed too long. In 2005, I had a good relationship. The boy treated me well, and I liked him too. The only flaw was that his family's financial situation was average, and he couldn't afford a house at the time. My parents said, "If you two feel good about each other, get married. We'll help with the down payment for the house."
You know, it's very interesting. So women basically, and this is back in 2005, y'all. 2005, before we had Twitter, 2005, when Facebook was still in its infancy and it was not widespread. 2005, when the world was a very, very different place and we were still all on flip phones. 2005, okay? So this just illustrates to you, it's been 20 years. This has been going on for easily over 20 years, guys, and it's only gotten worse. And now women are shocked that men are done and walking away or going their own way. Come on. They made their beds and now they're going to have to lay in them. And even as this is going down, guys, you have women who are still trying to torment men and destroy the lives of men. If you look at what's happening with Mr. Tate overseas and his brother, these guys are now back on their home arrest, and every woman they've spoken to, like 30 women, the mothers of their children, and all these other women are now Romania saying that, oh, well, these women are all victims. And women even outside of the country, like it's madness. Like it's such a, guys, look at this crap in the UK. Oh, if a boy even if he's even suspected of being susceptible to misogyny, his teacher is now under a duty to report him to the terror department in of their Homeland Security Department of Terrorism in the UK. This is madness. madness. Basically, it's because they want to stop these ideologies before they start. In other words, thought policing. It's a direct attack on the manosphere. It's a direct attack on MGTOW. The crazy thing is that it's only going to happen naturally. One of the next things they'll definitely want to do is try to shut down the internet or certain parts of the internet to prevent boys and men from being able to access this. But it's a bigger portion of this is they don't want men and boys speaking to one another or being in large numbers. They don't want any male dominated spaces. The only male dominated space they will allow is prison. That's the only male dominated space that they will allow. And women and girls are pushing this and celebrating it. And yet, look at the results. Look at what's happening in China. The men are just avoiding these women. The men are just saying, we're done. We're not even going to be bothered. And the women are like, what the heck is going on? Valentine's Day has collapsed in China. And then, of course, you have women who are shaming men for relationships, shaming the men for not spending enough. There was a man who gave a woman, some girlfriend, a bunch of dates, like, the fruit, and she basically threw them in the trash. And another woman ran behind them, picked up the bag from the trash, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's just dates. He doesn't deserve to have her as a girlfriend." This is all the while this woman takes the dates out of the trash and says that she's going to eat them. So she's berating the man for giving his girlfriend dates, the fruit, but then she's and saying that he doesn't deserve a woman, he doesn't deserve his girlfriend or her for that or her for that matter. And then she turns around and says that she's going to keep the dates and eat the dates. You see how, guys, this is a sick society. I told you there was a video where this man went into the sewers because people were living in the sewers. There was a woman in the sewers. All right. There was some white chick in the sewers, and she started to go, and he was interviewing all the homeless people. He started interviewing her, and she started going on about she deserves a high value man, and she's not going to settle. And bro literally flipped on her. It's like, Susan, stop it right now. Stop it right now, Susan. You are living in the sewers. What are you on? Are you on Molly, Susan? Are you on Molly, Susan? And she's like, I'm not gonna settle. This is the level of delusion that these individuals are in. And this is the reason why many of them are now facing extraordinary destitution and despair, because they refuse to settle, and they still think that they're the ones in control. They still think that they're the ones with the power. They don't understand that they screwed up, and they have screwed up extremely bad. There's not going to be anyone coming to rescue them. There's not going to be a happy ending. Most of them are going to end up childless and single. And the more that they operate as agents of the state to torture men and make the lives worse, and make the lives of men even worse, it's only going to result in more men walking away and staying away. The future for women is going to be one filled with lots of poverty, hardship, and homelessness, destitution, and men completely abandoning society. Men are learning now their value and their worth, and that they're the prize. And they're turning their backs on society. And the more society does this, the worse it's going to get. Look at what's happening in the US. You have members of the Pentagon, top members of the Pentagon and the military saying that we need to start a draft soon. Not as a matter of preparing for war, but because the current military that they have is not enough, and it's close to breaking. The men and women in the military right now are extremely overworked. They're working double shifts. They're holding down everything. We do not have enough people, and every year there's a group of people retiring, or are being found disabled, and they're gone. And those numbers are not being refilled. Look at Gen Z. Gen Z is messed up. All right, a lot of these, for some reason, something like 1 out of every 3 Gen Zers. I don't know if I got that number right, but it's like 1 out of every 3 Gen Zers are being found to have bipolar. 91% of Gen Zers are reporting mental illness. Almost 25% of Gen Zers are essentially mentally disabled. Like, they can go and file for Social Security. They have it'll be a lifelong mental illness or long-term mental illness. Like, it is serious with them. Okay, 77% of them in 2020 were found unfit to serve in the military by the military. All right, like they legally cannot serve unless they receive waivers. They're either too fat, too stupid, too mentally too mentally ill, or too drugged out to serve in the military. Like this is the literal living hell we are in right now. Like the future is not bright. What for a lot of women, and many people don't like the name Milo Yiannopoulos, but he called this many years ago with an article titled "The Sexiness," where he said the boys will be okay. It's going to be the girls that actually suffer the most because women need men to survive. Men are their providers and protectors. This is back in like 2017. This was almost a decade ago when he put out this article. And we're guys, women think that they are on top of the world. They think that the state exists to do their bidding. They think that they are the ones who run the state, and if the state becomes tyrannical and starts doing things that does not things that create problems for them, they will take over. They will band together and they will stand up to the state. What load of nonsense is this? They'll gather up their simps. But they no, I've seen so many women say that, if the state becomes tyrannical and turns on women, they're going to just they'll gather together and stand up to the state and take on the state. Like what the living hell? If you group a bunch of women together, you have a bunch of helpless women. If you group a bunch of men together, you have a rebellion. Okay? And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Also, subscribe to the Angry Guy Clips channel where we post shorter videos and video responses, and also the Angry Guy Live channel where we live stream. Both channels are linked in the description. And again, guys, they are monitoring us. We need to protect ourselves. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Click the link in the description to get started and support the channel. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? Leftover women in China are crying bitter tears as men avoid them. Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.